What distinguishes a visionary leader? Visionary leaders possess a rare combination of traits: foresight, courage, empathy, and an unyielding belief in a better tomorrow. They see beyond the immediate horizon, anticipating challenges and seizing opportunities that others might miss. These leaders are not afraid to challenge the status quo, to push boundaries and overturn conventional wisdom. In the tapestry of history, visionary leaders leave an indelible mark, shaping destinies and forging new paths for generations to come. In the heart of Southeast Asia, a nation with a rich history and a vibrant present finds itself at a crossroads. At this pivotal moment, a familiar name has risen to the forefront of Philippine politics: Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. As the son of a former president, Marcos Jr. carries a weighty legacy. In 2024, Marcos Jr. has emerged as a figure of considerable interest and debate. Love him or scrutinize him, Bongbong Marcos Jr. stands as a pivotal figure in the evolving narrative of the Philippines. The Marcos family name echoes through Philippine history, a name synonymous with both progress and controversy. Ferdinand Marcos Sr., Bongbong's father, governed the nation for 2 decades, a period marked by ambitious infrastructure projects and economic growth, but also by authoritarianism and allegations of corruption. He championed infrastructure development, pouring resources into roads, bridges, and power plants, laying the groundwork for what some saw as a golden age of Philippine progress. However, this progress came at a cost. Critics argued that Marcos Sr.'s policies primarily benefited a select few, widening the gap between the rich and the poor. Accusations of cronyism and corruption plagued his administration, casting a shadow over his achievements. In 1972, facing growing unrest and opposition, President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. declared martial law, citing threats from communist insurgents and a need for national security. This pivotal decision would irrevocably shape the Philippines and cast a long shadow over the Marcos legacy. Martial law ushered in an era of authoritarian rule. Civil liberties were curtailed, political opponents were jailed, and the media was muzzled. While Marcos Sr. argued that these measures were necessary to restore order and stability, his critics viewed them as a power grab designed to silence dissent and perpetuate his rule. The years of martial law were marked by both economic progress and human rights abuses. While the Philippine economy experienced growth in certain sectors, this period also saw widespread poverty, inequality, and the suppression of fundamental freedoms. As the 21st century dawned, the Philippines grappled with the legacy of the Marcos era, a complex mix of progress, authoritarianism, and enduring social divisions. Into this landscape stepped Bongbong Marcos Jr., bearing a name freighted with history and determined to forge his own path. Born in 1957, Bongbong grew up amidst the trappings of power, witnessing both the triumphs and the turmoil of his father's presidency. Following the People Power Revolution that forced his family into exile in 1986, Bongbong spent several years abroad before returning to the Philippines in the early 1990s. He entered politics, serving as governor of his family's home province of Ilocos Norte, and later as a senator, gradually rebuilding the Marcos family's political brand. The 1990s witnessed the resurgence of the Marcos name in Philippine politics. Bongbong Marcos Jr., after years in exile, returned to his homeland, seeking to reclaim a place for his family on the national stage. His political journey began in his family's stronghold of Ilocos Norte, where he was elected governor in 1998. During his tenure, Marcos Jr. focused on developing the province's infrastructure, promoting tourism, and preserving its cultural heritage. He sought to portray himself as a pragmatic leader, capable of delivering tangible results for his constituents. Marcos Jr.'s approach resonated with many, particularly those who yearned for a return to the perceived stability and prosperity of his father's era. In 2010, Bongbong Marcos Jr. took his political career to the national level. winning a seat in the Philippine Senate. As a senator, he became a prominent voice on issues ranging from agriculture to national security, using his platform to advocate for policies he believed would benefit the nation. One of Marcos Jr.'s key priorities in the Senate was promoting agricultural development. He argued that a strong agricultural sector was essential for economic growth, job creation, and food security. He championed measures to support farmers, improve irrigation systems, and modernize farming practices. Beyond agriculture, Marcos Jr. also weighed in on foreign policy matters, particularly those concerning the South China Sea dispute. He called for a peaceful resolution to the territorial disputes, urging dialogue and cooperation among claimant nations. His stance on regional issues further solidified his image as a pragmatist, seeking to balance national interests with the need for regional stability. The 2016 Philippine presidential election marked a significant turning point in Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s political career. He ran for the vice presidency, a position that would place him a heartbeat away from the highest office in the land. The campaign was fiercely contested, with Marcos Jr. facing off against a field of seasoned politicians. He campaigned on a platform of unity and progress, promising to bridge political divides and revitalize the Philippine economy. He appealed to voters' nostalgia for his father's era, while also presenting himself as a leader for the future. The election results, however, proved to be highly controversial. Marcos Jr. narrowly lost the vice presidency, with his opponent Leni Robredo declared the winner by a slim margin. Marcos Jr. contested the results, alleging widespread electoral fraud and irregularities. The ensuing legal battle dragged on for years, further deepening political divisions within the country. Despite the setback of the 2016 vice presidential election, Bongbong Marcos Jr. remained a formidable force in Philippine politics. He continued to command a loyal following. In the lead-up to the 2022 presidential election, Marcos Jr. emerged as a frontrunner. He campaigned on unity and national healing. He promised to unite the country and lead towards a brighter future. Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s presidency is shadowed by his family's legacy. The Marcos name evokes pride and resentment, pride in achievements, resentment over martial law abuses. Marcos Jr. faces intense public scrutiny. Critics demand accountability and reparations for alleged ill-gotten wealth. Efforts for national healing are met with skepticism. Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s rise to power did not erase the deep political divisions that have long characterized Philippine society. He inherited a landscape marked by factionalism, with various political dynasties vying for influence and a vocal opposition eager to hold his administration accountable. Marcos Jr. has faced criticism from both ends of the political spectrum. Left-leaning activists accuse him of perpetuating the authoritarian tendencies of his father, pointing to his administration's crackdown on dissent and its attempts to control the narrative surrounding the Marcos family's past. On the other hand, some elements within the traditional elite have viewed Marcos Jr. with suspicion, wary of his populist appeal and his potential to disrupt the established order. They have closely scrutinized his economic policies, questioning his commitment to free markets and his ability to attract foreign investment. Despite the Philippines' remarkable economic growth in recent years, Bongbong Marcos Jr. inherited a nation grappling with persistent economic disparities and social unrest. The gap between the rich and the poor remains stubbornly wide, fueling resentment and frustration among those who feel left behind. Marcos Jr. has made addressing poverty and inequality a central tenet of his presidency. He has pledged to create jobs, improve access to education and healthcare, and uplift the lives of ordinary Filipinos. However, translating these promises into tangible results has proven to be a daunting task. The COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated existing social and economic challenges, pushing millions deeper into poverty and straining the country's healthcare system. The pandemic's economic fallout, coupled with rising inflation and global uncertainty, has tested Marcos Jr.'s leadership, forcing him to make difficult decisions that have not always been popular. Bongbong Marcos Jr., often described as a pragmatist, navigates Philippine politics by building consensus and seeking common ground. He adopts a flexible approach, emphasizing practical solutions over grand pronouncements. Marcos Jr. stresses unity in a divided nation, urging Filipinos to work together. He calls for an end to divisive rhetoric, focusing on shared goals. His pragmatic approach extends to economic policies, balancing growth and social equity. Central to Bongbong. Marcos Jr.'s vision for the Philippines is a more prominent role for the nation on the regional and global stage. He recognizes that in an increasingly interconnected world, a country's economic prosperity is inextricably linked to its ability to forge strong partnerships with other nations. Marcos Jr. has made economic diplomacy a cornerstone of his foreign policy. He has embarked on numerous trips abroad, meeting with world leaders and business executives to promote the Philippines as an attractive destination for investment and trade. His administration has prioritized strengthening ties with traditional allies, such as the United States and Japan, while also seeking to deepen engagement with emerging powers like China and India. Marcos Jr. understands that in a multipolar world, the Philippines must be adept at navigating complex geopolitical currents and building bridges across traditional divides. Beyond economic diplomacy, Bongbong Marcos Jr. has also sought to elevate the Philippines' international profile by championing the interests and aspirations of the Filipino people. He recognizes the vital contributions that Filipinos make around the world, from healthcare professionals to seafarers to engineers, and he has made it a priority to protect their rights and welfare. Marcos Jr. has spoken out against discrimination and exploitation faced by Filipinos working abroad, calling for greater international cooperation to ensure their safety and fair treatment. His administration has also stepped up efforts to assist Filipinos who have fallen victim to human trafficking or labor abuses overseas. Furthermore, Marcos Jr. has sought to harness the talent and potential of the Filipino diaspora, encouraging them to invest in their homeland and contribute to its development. He has called on Filipinos abroad to become ambassadors for their country, sharing their culture, values, and stories with the world. Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s presidency is still in its early stages, and it remains to be seen whether he will be able to fully realize his ambitious vision for the Philippines. However, there are signs that his pragmatic approach to governance, his focus on economic diplomacy, and his commitment to championing the Filipino people are beginning to bear fruit. The Philippine economy has shown resilience in the face of global headwinds, with growth remaining robust and inflation relatively contained. Foreign investors have continued to express confidence in the Philippine market, drawn by the country's young and dynamic workforce and its strategic location in Southeast Asia. Moreover, Marcos Jr.'s efforts to strengthen ties with other nations have begun to yield dividends, with the Philippines securing increased trade and investment from key partners. As Bongbong Marcos Jr. navigates the complexities of leadership on the global stage, his journey becomes inextricably linked to the aspirations of millions across the Philippines and beyond. He carries the weight of history, not as a burden, but as a foundation upon which to build a brighter future. His story is still being written, a narrative woven with threads of ambition, resilience, and a deep-seated belief in the potential of the Filipino people. The challenges he faces are significant, the expectations placed upon his shoulders immense. Yet it is precisely in these moments of great challenge that the true mettle of a leader is revealed. Will Bongbong Marcos Jr. rise to the occasion, harnessing the collective spirit of his nation to overcome adversity and forge a new path for the Philippines? In the annals of Asian leadership, Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s name is etched as a figure of consequence. He understands the complexities of the 21st century, grappling with geopolitical shifts and economic uncertainty. Marcos Jr.'s vision for a prosperous, influential, and united Philippines resonates deeply with his people. His commitment to economic diplomacy and belief in his nation's potential have earned him admiration and scrutiny. His leadership will shape the destiny of his nation and the emerging Asian century. His journey inspires aspiring leaders and ordinary citizens alike. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Join us as we explore more stories shaping our world.